So around Christmas time, 2019, the tech giant exercise equipment unicorn Peloton released a video. Not a video, a commercial. A commercial about a woman whose husband gave her a Peloton for Christmas. She rode the Peloton. There were all these shots of her, like different disjointed shots of her riding the Peloton, and at the end of the commercial, she puts all these videos of her together as one big thank you to her husband for getting her a Peloton for Christmas the year before. The commercial got panned. People made fun of it all over the place. The very next day, it was on, the Today Show or Good Morning America talking about how horrible this Peloton commercial was, and I couldn't help but think to myself, oh, they were so close. The Peloton commercial is exactly what I was talking about in Stories That Stick in the segment about the customer story. Two big things went wrong for an otherwise perfectly reasonable commercial that Peloton, it could have been a huge holiday success, save for these two big mistakes. Number one, it's obvious that the story that they told was featuring a Peloton customer, but it was obvious that this wasn't a real Peloton customer story. They just kind of had their marketing team scripted together. They got a crew in to shoot it, and they put it together. What goes wrong is Peloton has hundreds of thousands of incredible customer stories that they could be telling, real stories of people who were gifted a Peloton for Christmas or Mother's Day. That's when I got my Peloton. I don't have my Peloton anymore. We moved to New York to an apartment. There really wasn't a place to put it, but I know our neighbors downstairs have a Peloton. They have an entire room dedicated to it. That's not the point, but the point is, in my building alone, there are at least two customer stories, real stories that they could be telling. Peloton was lazy. They didn't go talk to their customers. They made up the story and they paid the price. The second big problem with the Peloton commercial is the issue of the normal. They left the normal out. Now, I'll put a link in the email or wherever you're watching this. I'll put a link so you can go watch this video. One of the huge criticisms for this Peloton commercial is that one of the headlines said, 116-pound beautiful woman gets all the way down to 111 pounds and is still beautiful after using a Peloton. The people were panning this commercial because the woman just looked beautiful at the beginning and beautiful at the end. But I don't know about you. Exercise isn't always about beauty. Like, everyone's normal when it comes to exercise is different. They could have spent just a little bit of time at telling the normal. Maybe the woman used to exercise a lot. Maybe she used to go to a spin class. Maybe she used to go out for a run, but then she had a kid or she got a big job and she just didn't go anymore. So then as they're filming this video, as they're putting this story together, they could be showing clips of her before the bike shows up in her living room. That's the thing they left out. They started when the bike showed up in her living room. But who was she before the bike showed up? They could show clips of her where, I know on SoulCycle, whenever I don't go, I get this notification that says missed soul, which also means you just spent $35 on nothing. Okay, so that is a story in and of itself, like her being like, oh, Miss Soul, like, oh, I failed. It could show shots of her at the empty bike in an otherwise full spin class that should have been her. It can show her like turning off her alarm clock and not getting up for her workout. Because it's hard to get there, life gets busy, and now her husband gives her a bike because now she can do the workout from the comfort of her own home. That would have entirely changed the story. Now it's not about going from 116 pounds to 111 pounds. It's about getting the time that you need to be healthy? Or what if the angle is simply that now she's a woman who doesn't take time for herself, right? She's always, which is a common thing among women. All the shots could be of her caring for her husband and caring for her friends and caring for her kids and going to her job and doing the board meeting and running around, and at the end of every day there isn't time for her. And then the bike shows up and now she has time anytime. All of these are possible normals that if they had just started there, it would have shifted the entire narrative to being what the Peloton is really about. And ultimately, that's where they missed the mark. Peloton didn't know what they're really about. They don't know that what they do is give people back pieces of themselves that they lost. They didn't realize that what they do is let people care for themselves instead of caring for everybody else. They didn't know that. They didn't tell that story, and man, they paid for it. So keep that in mind as you are looking to tell your customers' stories. Go talk to your actual customers. They are out there and they have stories to tell. And if they like what you do, they will tell good stories. And second, make sure that you're starting your story with the normal, not the explosion, not in the middle of the story. So, better luck for Peloton in years going forward. Better luck for you as you tell your stories.